1900, Europe is at the zenith of colonial power. 1901, Queen Victoria of Britain dies, ending the Victorian era. 1902, Treaty of Versailles ends the Second Boer War. 1903, the Wright brothers make the first controlled flight. 1904, the Entente Cordiale signed between Britain and France. 1905, Russian Revolution of 1905 begins. 1906, San Francisco earthquake, Russian Duma is created. 1907, Triple Entente formed by Russia, Britain, and France. 1908, Austria-Hungary annexes Bosnia and Herzegovina. 1909, Serbia raises military concerns over Bosnia. 1910, the Union of South Africa is created, Halley's Comet sighted. 1911, Italy attacks the Ottoman Empire in Libya. 1912, the Titanic sinks, First Balkan War begins. 1913, Second Balkan War, Treaty of Bucharest. 1914, assassination of Archduke Ferdinand sparks World War I. 1915, Battle of Gallipoli, Lusitania is sunk by a U-boat. 1916, World War I rages, with battles like Verdun and the Somme causing massive casualties. 1917, Russian Bolshevik Revolution leads to Russia's withdrawal from World War I. 1918, World War I ends with the signing of the armistice on November 11. 1919, Treaty of Versailles is signed, imposing harsh penalties on Germany. 1920, League of Nations is established to maintain world peace. 1921, Treaty of Trianon redrawing Hungary's borders is signed. 1922, fascist leader Mussolini marches on Rome, beginning his rule in Italy. 1923, hyperinflation hits Germany, leading to economic turmoil. 1924, Stalin rises to power after Lenin's death in Soviet Union. 1925, Locarno treaties are signed, bringing hope for European stability. 1926, Germany joins the League of Nations. 1927, economic growth in Weimar Republic increases political stability. 1928, Kellogg-Briand Pact is signed to renounce war as national policy. 1929, Wall Street crash sparks global economic depression. 1930, rise of extremist political movements in Europe due to economic woes. 1931, Britain abandons the gold standard amid the economic crisis. 1932, Europe faces economic depression, political instability, and rising extremism post-World War I. 1933, Nazi regime rises in Germany, starting with Adolf Hitler's appointment as Chancellor. 1934, Night of the Long Knives solidifies Hitler's power, death of Austrian Chancellor Dollfuss. 1935, Nuremberg laws enacted, stripping Jews of rights, Italy invades Ethiopia. 1936, Spanish Civil War begins, testing new weapons and tactics for World War II. 1937, Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy formed the Rome-Berlin Axis Agreement. 1938, Munich Agreement permits Nazi annexation of Sudetenland, Kristallnacht pogrom against Jews. 1939, Germany invades Poland, instigating World War II, Britain and France declare war. 1940, Germany invades Western Europe, Battle of Britain, Italy joins Axis powers. 1941, Germany invades the Soviet Union, attack on Pearl Harbor brings US into World War II. 1942, Allied forces begin recovering, with victories in Africa and the Pacific. 1943, Axis powers face defeats in Stalingrad and North Africa. 1944, D-Day invasion liberates France, Allies advance into German territory. 1945, World War II ends, Europe is ravaged, United Nations formed, Nuremberg trials begin. 1946, Churchill's Iron Curtain speech highlights start of Cold War. 1947, Marshall Plan announced to aid European recovery with US economic support. 1948, the Marshall Plan announced, aiding European economies after World War II. 1949, NATO formed to provide collective security against the Soviet Union. 1950, European Coal and Steel Community proposed, starting economic collaboration. 1951, Treaty of Paris signed to create the Coal and Steel Community. 1952, European Defence Community Treaty signed, though not ratified later. 1953, Stalin dies, leading to a thaw in East-West tensions. 1954, France declines the European Defence Community, reducing integration. 1955, Warsaw Pact signed in response to NATO, aligning Eastern Europe. 1956, Hungarian Revolution, showcasing Soviet control over Eastern Europe. 1957, Treaty of Rome signed, establishing the European Economic Community. 1958, the EEC starts functioning, fostering economic integration. 1959, European Free Trade Association formed by non-EEC countries. 1960, growing economic prosperity in Western Europe, called the Golden Age. 1961, Berlin Wall construction begins, symbolizing Cold War divisions. 1962, Cuban Missile Crisis intensifies Cold War tensions in Europe. 1963, Franco-German Treaty of Friendship subsides historical enmity. 1964, Britain and France agree to construct the Channel Tunnel, strengthening trade connections. 1965, the Common Agricultural Policy is established in the European Economic Community. 1966, France withdraws from the NATO military command structure. 1967, the UK, Denmark, Ireland, and Norway apply to join the EEC. 1968, the Prague Spring occurs in Czechoslovakia, igniting desires for reforms. 1969, Willy Brandt becomes Chancellor of West Germany, pursuing Ostpolitik. 1970, the Treaty of Warsaw is signed, recognizing existing borders in Central Europe. 1971, the United Kingdom withdraws its military presence from Malta. 1972, the European Financial Community introduces the snake currency system. 1973, the UK joins the European Economic Community, ending years of negotiation. 1974, the Turkish invasion of Cyprus causes a political split on the island. 1975, Spain transitions towards democracy after Franco's death. 1976, Greece reapplies for membership in the European Economic Community. 1977, the European Community agrees to give preferential trade terms to the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group. 1978, the European monetary system is created to keep currency rates stable. 1979, Margaret Thatcher becomes the UK's first female Prime Minister. 1980, Solidarity movement emerged in Poland, challenging Soviet influence. 1981, Greece joined the European Economic Community, EEC. 1982, Spain and Portugal applied for EEC membership. 1983, Helmut Kohl became Chancellor of West Germany. 1984, UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher negotiated a budget rebate from the EEC. 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became Soviet leader, initiating perestroika reforms. 1986, Spain and Portugal became EEC members. 1987, European Single Act aimed at creating a single market. 1988, major labor strikes in France against economic reforms. 1989, fall of the Berlin Wall symbolized the end of Cold War. 1990, Germany reunified after the fall of the Berlin Wall. 1991, Soviet Union collapsed, leading to independence for several Eastern European countries. 1992, the Maastricht Treaty signed, establishing the European Union. 1993, single market launched, allowing free movement across European Union countries. 1994, Austria, Finland, Sweden applied to join the European Union. 1995, Schengen Agreement implemented, reducing border controls between participating countries. 1996, EU enlargement negotiations began with Eastern European countries. 1997, Treaty of Amsterdam signed, amending the Maastricht Treaty. 1998, Euro introduced as the European Union's single currency. 1999, NATO intervened in Kosovo, responding to the humanitarian crisis. 2000, Nice Treaty signed, preparing the EU for further enlargement. If you like our work or you want to see more these type of video, then subscribe our channel. Majority of our viewers see our video but don't subscribe. Please subscribe for our motivation.